thought I'd get around to tackling the next phase of the 8050 repair. So I've replaced the faulty 6530 with a board that lets you use a 6532 and an EEPROM with the drive code that would normally be stored in the ROM space of the 6530. That got rid of the 5 flashing error code on the drive, which shows up on the middle LED, and I think the other 2 as well, or like the drive LEDs. So I pulled the drive out. Hadn't filmed that bit. I may film that when I do drive 0. Thought I'd start with drive 1 because it's kind of easier to get out. So there is 4 screws on the bottom of the case, and there is a whole bunch of wires that need to be removed from that connector there. So I've taken a photo of that so I can remember which wires go where, and they had little paper labels, but some had come off and some came off when I removed them, so I've just used a marker so I know which is the right way, because there's lots of them, and then there's other bits as well. So I pulled this one out. The reason for pulling it out is because when I tried to format a disk, it said there was a speed error, and when I opened the lid and had a look down into the drive, it was barely spinning. In fact, it wasn't spinning. It kind of tried and then stopped. When I tried to spin the, see if you can see it. When I tried to spin that hub down there, it was really hard to turn. So I figured, like a lot of these type of things, the lubricant that was lubricating the spindle that went from top to bottom had dried up, become sticky. I tried to take this off and had no luck. That screw turned about a tiny little bit and it just stuck. Enough that this would become loose and rotate on its own, but I could not get it to come out. I was gripping the top thing with various different things. I didn't want to damage it, obviously, so in the end I had to suck it up, and what I did was I used a can of penetrating oil that had a long nozzle, and stuck it through hole. As you can see, you got 2 holes there, so it kind of gave me a little bit of a angle to get down in to where, and I can't really show you on the phone, but there is just enough of the sort of spindle and presumably the top of the bearing exposed underneath this big aluminium piece. So I shot a very lot of the penetrating oil in a few different sort of goes, hoping that some of it would get down and start, getting into the bearings and stuff like that. And I left it for, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 minutes, can't remember, and came back and it started to free up. So I span it a whole bunch of times. Then I repeated the same process I did earlier. And then I left it again for a little bit, I don't know, 30 minutes maybe again. Came back and it was spinning really freely. So I gave it one last hit of the penetrating oil, and then I went out, and about 3 hours later, here we are, and that's what we're left with now. So I think that part of the problem is sorted. The belt, which is sitting up there, is really nice and tight, actually, surprisingly so. So I don't think there's going to be any slippage there. The motor spins quite nicely, so I'm not going to try and jam oil or anything inside it. Seems to be okay. And obviously while it was out, you know, the rails were dry. There was no oil, and it the head didn't feel nice when it moved. So yeah, the cotton buds, clean off residual oil, dirt, and reapply to rails. I could find almost no information on these drives on the net. If you're a pet owner and you've got a 8050, everything seems to relate to the other brand of drive that was put in the 8050s, which is the Micropolis drive, I think it is. But some of these machines got these MPI drives instead. So yeah, all the resto videos I found on restoring these drives, as in these drives, were usually referring to the Micropolis drive. So this is what an MPI drive looks like. So for future reference. That is the head connector there, just lying there, flapping about in the wind, so to speak. Yep. And finally, so the last thing I'm going to do before I put it back in, this may be unnecessary, but I am going to use a dripper to suck up a little bit of this oil, which is that same oil there. I just put it in that for ease of use, but I'm going to put some of this into the dripper, and then I think what I'm going to do is just drip carefully, if I can, and that is something yet to be seen. I'll kind of see if I can use one of these holes to one of those holes. It fits, just to drip a little bit of that oil sort of down inside where that spindle is, and yeah, just in the hope a little bit of that might pull around the spindle and then eventually sort of soak down in, and that will be it. So there will be hopefully a follow-up video showing that working. All right, catch you later. Okay, the drive has been cleaned and lubricated, just like I said in the last video. The only thing I hadn't done at that point, which I have now done, is I cleaned the drive head and also lubricated some of the moving mechanism at the front here. Yeah, much nicer. It was a bit felt a bit stiff before, but now it's okay. So I'm going to put the drive in, and we're going to reconnect it and test. There's a lot of wires in these drives. I'm used to working on a 1541 and those sort of drives, and it's a lot simpler. Before I put it all the way in, you can see the rails there that the drive sits on, and the 4 screw holes. So slide that in there. Now, so I can and don't muck it up, I have made myself. Took a photo and just printed it out. So that's my guide. So it was actually might even, before we do that, just quickly maybe a little bit of old deoxit. should be another one first. Right, that one. What I may as well do is put the deoxit on them while I've got them in my hands. Fine. Okay, I think that's all the connectors that need that on it. Haven't done the drive head, may as well do that. Okay, pretty sure that's all the connectors. So the one labeled P4 is here. I'm just gonna do that a couple of times to give it, make sure it's got a good contact. So yeah, so it's P4, then P1. Not their actual labels, names, pin names, whatever, but when all the little paper labels are falling off, you do whatever you can. So P4, P1, then in my dodgy writing, it was A, then it was meant to be a B, but looks like just a blob. And lastly, another one hiding somewhere. Ah, there it is. Okay, P4, P1, A, B, C, kinda. And then there was this guy. Okay, it looks like one of those pins is a little bit. Let's see if we can get it on. That's fine. And then we have the head connector, which actually is keyed. These actually connections don't look the greatest. In fact, there's something weird, which explains why it was hard to get off something. I don't understand what that is. I'll need to take a close look at that. Alright, well, you're on. Maybe we won't take a close look at that. Except, yeah, oh, that's right. Okay, what else have we got left? We have this wire. Which went onto this connector. Okay. Have we left anything off? So we've got that group there, that one there, that flying lead there, and the head connector. Well, can't see any plugs that I've left unplugged. Okay, well, at this point, need to connect up the IEEE interface and yeah, give it a test. All right, one moment. Before we get into the test and close the lid, which I'll need to do to fit the IEEE cable in at the back, I thought I'll show you the 6530 replacement. So that little board there contains a 6532 and an EEPROM with the drive code on it. So what was in there was a 6530, which is a chip that Commodore MOS made, that contains RAM, ROM, IO and timer. So the ROM part of the 6530 is customized for each different model of drive and unit. So 8250 would have a different one. An 8050 with the Micropolis drive will have different ROM code to the 8050 I have here that has the MPI drive. So I've downloaded the firmware from Zimmers for the MPI drive, burnt it to the EEPROM, and away you go. That works. So that solved that problem of the 5 flashes and the drive not being responsive. So anyway, now that's explained, I'm going to get the IEEE interface, connect it all up, and let's test this thing. All right, ready to power up the drive. So this is a 110 volt drive and I've got a step down converter, just as an FYI, whatever. Okay, nothing because I didn't plug the IEC cord in. Great. Okay. Right, IEC cord in. Power's on. We saw a single flash, which is normal, means status okay. Let's turn the Commodore 64 on. Again, we get a reset. Let's do an app. So we've got communication to the drive through the IEEE. And it's now time to grab a floppy. I haven't screwed the drive in, so I'm going to be a little bit careful here. Okay, that command for new drive 1. No, same thing. Damn. Well, looks like there will be some more work needed, but for today, that is definitely it. All right, catch you later. Okay, I had a quick look. With the lid up, I could see the drive motor wasn't even attempting to spin. So I had a look at where the connection wires go from the drive motor. They go to that long connector there, the one that I said had a slightly bent pin. Turns out that I'd actually shifted I'd put the connector on one too many to the left. So yeah, I hope nothing's been killed because of that. Anyway, I've repositioned it. As soon as I turned power on to the drive, I noticed that the motor span. So that's something. So take 2, I guess. Let's try and format this disk. Drive spins, computer on. So, no, not 0, we want 1. New 1, drive 1. Still. Okay, different. Right protect on. So, right protect is that system, a group of wires there. Something. Definitely right protect is not on. All right. Sometimes I just can't let go. I was annoyed that drive 1 is throwing up the right protect error. So I've done a quick check with the multimeter, and I can see there's constant power to one of the sets of wires there, which makes sense. And then there's another set of pins there which change their logic level. The constant power is about 1.2 volts, so that would be the LED that shines, infrared LED that shines up to the phototransistor, and the one that changes its logic level will be the phototransistor. So we know the mechanism for detecting a disc going in and the light being interrupted. Sorry, trouble speaking. Works. So there is something. I guess I've got to find the connection that comes from this board and goes to here and see. Anyway, so for giggles, I grabbed the can of penetrating oil and leaving the drive actually in the unit, drive 1 in the unit, I just shot some penetrating oil into the same spot I did with this guy, span it, and I could feel it freeing up, so that was good. And then I gave the heads a quick clean using one of these, and I also cleaned the rails using one of these, and just used the eyedropper to drop some oil on there and just let it slide down, and then just brought the head up, moved it, turned it on, put a disc in, format, failed on track 8. Moved the head a little bit again, format, and it formatted, it completed. We have 2052 blocks free, so that's like the worst restoration ever, in terms of the amount of effort put in. I literally just did the bare minimum, and it's worked, which is kind of good. I haven't tried to save anything, but I mean, so far so good. That'll do, I don't care. And I guess now I'm not really used to dual drive units, but I guess it's save quotes 0 : test and comma 8. Well, that's saved. Let's power cycle. Directory. There it is. Let's load 0 : test. 8. Sure. So that's really good. I'm happy. Now I've got a working drive that might also help me diagnose what's going on with the other drive and its weird write protect issues. All right, well, that is definitely it for tonight. I think it's dinner time. I don't even know how late it is, but I don't care if it was worth it to see this old girl actually working, you know. It's cool when the old gear comes up. And yeah, I feel like this is it's warming up. It's coming up. So yep, tomorrow I will look deeper into the drive one issues. But for now, I'm gonna have some dinner, watch some telly, and relax. Bye. So as a follow up, I thought before I go and grab a bite to eat, I'll just quickly check to see um, where the wires from what I assume is the output of this board back to this board to say, hey, right protect's on or off, appears to be potentially this connector at the very end, although I've got to double check that. I guess we'll find a circuit diagram online, I'm sure. Anyway, it comes across to this connector. So I pulled this connector off and put some deoxide in it. Can't remember if I did that before or not. I don't think so. Uh, did that, put it on and off 3 or 4 times just to make sure those contacts are making contact nicely. Turned it all back on, format, same things, right protect error. So then I looked at this connector again and I thought maybe something wrong with the connector. So I pulled the connector off. It looks fine. I can't see any issue, and the pins look okay. So then I thought, for giggles, what happens if I try and format the disk? And this is what happened. Oh, sorry, wrong drive. Uh, sure, thanks. Yeah, formatted. No write protect error. So that's intriguing because there was definitely a logic level change when I either had a disk in or didn't. So it's not like the photo transistor is playing up. It's just like it's inverted. So presumably with no logic telling it it's got write protect or not, it happily formatted the disk. So, and it sounds really good. Bit quieter than this one, and you'd expect that because of it's had a bit more time for the penetrating oil and stuff to soak in. Plus, I did that last little shot of extra bearing oil using the eyedropper. So I guess this one is going to be quieter. It's actually pretty good. I can't complain. It's probably no noisier than any 1541. So that gives me something to think on. Why is the current situation presenting a write protect signal when there is no write protect on the disk, and why does it work when there's nothing connected? So I think I need food so that I can get some fuel into my brain, and that might help me to properly understand what's going on. But at least I know the drive physically works. It formatted, no errors. I'm guessing that it will probably save and read. This is the disk from disk 0 earlier. That should have that little test program on there. What was it? Actually, and of course, yeah, not having the write protect enabled means that it doesn't detect a different disk. So I have no idea how you initialize a different drive number. Well, I guess that worked. Yep. There we go. This has got the DOS wedge, but I kind of like typing the drive number. Oops. Yep. There you go. Well, that's cool. At least I know the drive, the mechanism's good. So, yeah, we just got to work the logic side of it out. Food time. All right. Catch you later.